5 for both. Wowie zowie. Don't care. No advertisements, no solicitors. Alright. 1080p 60 source. There we go. Ah. Buddies. It's so cute. I love dogs. They're amazing goobers. Alright. Time to begin stuff in Star Citizen. Okay, perfect. It's all set up nicely. I'm going to do more gem mining. I set the tack up properly this time. I got a suit now. The suit's nice. I personally wanted to try it without the suit because, you know, it wasn't all that bad. But I underestimated how long it would take to obtain the gems and also how many gems there were. This game has amazing vistas. Makes you want to explore the rest of the city. I would hate to be down there, like the debris coming out of that will have backwash over there because of the wind. Want to ride somewhere else so you call anyone? Can call? Can call? You have to push a button.
Transfers to the perimeter of the spaceport and industry lines.
Stay away from the burritos unless you have a working space toilet. You know what, that is fair advice. You know, I have suspect that the reason why burritos give people the need to visit the restroom is because of the fiber in the beans, maybe.
Step away from the platform edge when train is
Modern society isn't built for fiber. Perfect.
next stop, Tisa Spaceport.
And fixed. This Gorilla Glue is pretty good. Clear grip. Contact adhesive. Because I have a nice cube. It's like a Nido. It's a Nido product. They've been selling them at like Walmart and stuff, and I like that kind of gel stress ball consistency. So I bought myself one, and it was pretty nice. But over time, the gel kind of shrunk, I guess you could say, to become tougher. But anyways, I've been messing around with it a lot lately because it has like really nice firm toughness now, which is actually pretty nice on the hands when I squeeze it. But the problem with that is this Nice Cube is pretty old and I've been using it a lot, squishing it a lot, and the little rubber cap on the bottom, because all of these products have that little rubber cap that's held in with some sort of like adhesive that they use to seal together the rubber, silicone, whatever it is. It started to come apart and separate, and some air actually escaped from the cube, which is not good. I'm trying to find my personal lift. But yeah, I was worried about it actually coming undone and whatnot. Like, thankfully, thinking about it now, I don't think any air got out, which is a good thing. But and also thankfully that the seal wasn't completely damaged I redact the air coming out because I was wrong about that. But I needed a means of fixing it. I have some glue all, the Elmer's glue, the glue all stuff. But that didn't do nothing. It just came right off of the rubber. It was not able to grip because it's, you know, silicone rubber, whatever it is. So I forgot I had some of this Gorilla Glue stuff just lying around. And it worked. It's a very rubbery kind of glue. And I was using it for miniatures that I printed a while ago. And it took me by surprise because, you know, it's rubbery. It's, I don't know. I try to use it to fix my sunglasses, but it's not that kind of glue, I guess. But the problem was, well, the glue worked perfectly. It combined and bonded the rubber pieces back together, and the seal's been rectified and repaired, thankfully. But I do have to admit, I was very curious about removing the cap and just messing with the gel on the inside of this cube. Because this cube is like, what? 3? Or maybe 5 years old. I had this cube for a long while. But, it's just funny. It just, the gel on the inside just keeps shrinking down and air just keeps getting in there somehow, even though it can't get out. Alright, today on the docket list, more phenolphthalein. Because that stuff is actually pretty good. It sold for around 200 something a piece and had 600 units, so that was around 120,000 monies. Which is good. Because I had 300 something, and now I have 400 something monies. This ship is so nice. I just love the Star Citizen ships. I wish I could get them all, but that is financially unfeasible. I'm going to admit it right now. If I had the money, like, this is just a broken record thing I will always say. If I had the money, I would definitely own a Javelin and an Idris. Nothing wrong with the Kraken. Kraken's awesome. Really like the design of it. And the open pads. Not enough open pad ships, honestly. But I gotta give it to the Javelin and Idris. Those are just really, really nice ships. Oh, the power buttons are... the power pips are finally fixed. Stand by, I gotta... Oi. There we go. I'm trying to set up the ambient music. I can't play any copyrighted music, even though other people do it all the time in their stuff. Hey, look, it's another... I'm gonna assume it's attack. A gunship turned into a gem hauler. Yep, called it. Called it, and I knew it was attack. Actually, one thing I'm excited for getting to later today after Star Citizen is Roadcraft. The sleeper has certainly awakened. I want to play the Dune soundtrack, not gonna lie. The 1980s Dune soundtrack. But I believe that it is copywritten, and Twitch and YouTube would not like that. They always have to ruin everything. happened to the 2 mil? Copyright is such a funny thing on the internet. It's fickle, yet it's needed. Right? I'm gonna go on a rambling thing about copyright, because copyright is very funny to me. I understand it fully. Copyright is very important and it's needed. Like, it's really important because, like, majority of people in society, people in general, prefer to take the easiest routes and make the easiest choices in life. I mean, if it's easier, why choose the harder path, right? But that also means, because it's easier, it's just easier to take credit for someone else's work than actually doing the work. And that lies in the problem of the necessity of copyright, because if you make, like, let's say a smash hit song, someone else can just take credit. And in that sense, yes, copyright is very important. But when the issues that I have with copyright in general is when companies, or individuals in particular, are overzealous with their enforcement of copyright. It's funny. Like, you see this all the time on YouTube. Literally, if you're like a private journalist, or you're just some sort of like reactor, like YouTube Reacts channel or so, or you just make information videos and you report on things. If you talk about someone and you talk about them in a way they don't like, and you use any sort of material that they might, air quotes, own, they'll be very vindictive and try and smite you down with the very abusable copyright and DMCA system that YouTube has. I don't know what it's like on Twitch. I don't do Twitch stuff enough, or I don't watch Twitch, so can't really speak on that factor. But the copyright situation when it comes to like music and listening to music, it's interesting. Like, you have to buy the rights to share the songs on an official sense. But if, like, let's say you're just some lowly streamer playing a game and you have it in the background, that also warrants of enforcement of the copyright stuff, if that makes any sense. At least that's what I've noticed. Because every single time I do one of these streams and I'm just listening to the songs I like, it's like when you're driving around and you're listening to a radio station playing random songs and whatnot. I guess they do that because you could have the potential of making money off of it. Maybe. I don't know. I don't have a full understanding of that whole thing. It's a very interesting thing to me. That's why I'm rambling about it. I'm not an expert on the matter. Things are fascinating. And you talk about fascinating things. And my ship is perpetually yawing. Thankfully, I'm going to Magda. I don't need a Pembroke suit to stay alive. That's fair. Just stopping by and saying hello is, like, perfect enough for me and whatnot. I take every little bit of good thing when you get them. 1K script for 950K? How do you get script in the first place? CIG has stated before, how do you get script in Wicklow Favor, and it just completely flew over my head. No idea how I would get that kind of stuff. I want that frickin' Argo ATLS suit with the guns on it. I want one of those things. Like, come on now. And they better make it flyable. Or I thought they were going to apply that feature to all ATLS suits, but right now it's only for the Geo, which in a way is kind of disappointing. Here, while I'm traveling, I'm going to try and grab a quick thumbnail of Roadcraft. There it is. Images. So I could put it on YouTube. Because for some reason, YouTube needs key art. There we go. Also keeping an eye on my ship while I'm flying. There we go. She's flying down. You know, I saw a recent Buzzcut video of him talking about what's it called? What was it again? Oh, what was it? Dynamic? No, it wasn't dynamic. Oi, oi. I hate that when you know the word and then you try and say it and then you forget about it immediately. It's very inconvenient. It was something about combat. Essentially, it involves air, ground, and land. Combined arms, there it is, finally. They were talking about how CIG wants to implement combined arms, but they don't know how to do it. And that their efforts are really not all that great. And I agree. Because this game is not really supported. It doesn't support combined arms in any sort of sense. Because they want this to be a very immersive game. And they want combined arms somehow. Like, it is possible. One thing I will disagree with Buzzcut that is that it's not impossible to achieve combined arms combat in this game. It is perfectly possible. But at the same time, just because it's possible doesn't mean it's good. Because the possibility for combined arms is you take A2, fill it with vehicles, take a dropship, fill it with people, and then you take it down to a place. Then you cover it. Yeah, like, he did provide those examples, and I do agree with him on how those are terrible ways to go about combined arms, because ultimately aerospace superiority is dominant right now. Nothing can challenge spacecraft on the ground. We have anti-air ground vehicles, but they're dog water at protecting things from aerospace vehicles, especially when you do the infamous nose down, hovering in place like an air turret. Like hovering in place like a turret. It's just unavoidable. And also, the respawn system that they have set up does not support combined arms either. Because when people want to do CIG wants combined arms in Star Citizen, but it's not going to be fun combined arms, because they want death of a spaceman. They want death and loss to have consequences. They want us to replace, like, one thing I don't think CIG understands completely is that in Star Citizen, or just people in general, human beings take the path of least resistance. It's like electricity. They'll take the path of least resistance that's quickest to where they want to go. That is humans in a nutshell. And, ooh, what is this? Signals? Oh, that's interesting. It's a worm. There's worms in the ground. But back to what I was saying, like, the path of least resistance. Right now, if people wanted to do combined arms and Star Citizen, even though it is fully possible, it would be dog water. No, no soliciting, please. I do not care. But if you want to stick around and watch and have a chat, that is even more welcome. But I will feel more inclined to just deleting this comment. How do I delete comments again? You know, I'll just fly in a direction. User will get the ban hammer. Well, not ban hammer, but chat settings, chat highlight. Mod view. Let's try that. Alright, I am modes. Okay. Do. How do I get rid of it? Man, I hate this. I figured it out to do. I figured out how to do it once, but now I can't do it again. Community. Ellie. Yeah, okay, there we go. Whisper. Warn. No soliciting. There. Figured it out. Not being rude or mean, but I have now zero tolerance for solicitors. So if you come into my stream and start advertising about your services, I will give you a warning. And then if you continue, I'll kick you out. It's reasonable. Because that's one of the annoying things that I find when it comes to streaming on just in general, especially on Twitch, is that you get nothing but solicitors. Solicitors and bots. In a way, it's a bit demoralizing, but I mean, traffic is traffic in the Twitch algorithm, I guess. Who cares, maybe? Everyone gets solicitors. But I don't like it. I'm gonna complain about it because it annoys me. But anyways, back to what I was saying. With the combined arms situation, when I hear combined arms, I like to look at Battlefield, PlanetSide 2 and stuff. Ooh, that's the good stuff. And of course it's on a mountainside, hillside thing. You know what? It'll be better for the ship to be on the base of the mountain. But, they want to make dropships relevant in Star Citizen. That's fair. Like, I like the idea of dropships. I love dropships, personally. They're one of my most favorite types of ship in sci-fi, because they're cool. I love the Pelican. Like, the Pelican from Halo, the Republic gunship, the LSAT gunship from Star Wars, and, oh yeah, and the dropships from Starship Troopers Razak's Roughneck Chronicles. They actually do dropships amazingly in that show. I love them. The retrieval ships, and then you got dropships. Dropships are smaller, but the retrieval ships are bigger. Yada yada yada. Anyways. The problem with dropships is that they're kind of useless, aside from just flying it for the funsies, really. Like, how do you make them useful in Star Citizen? Like, there are ways you could do it, I guess. Like, you make them tankier. Okay, but when does the tankiness stop making sense? Like, let's use the Valkyrie for a good example, because I've been inspired to just ramble and chit chat on the matter after watching that Buzzcut video. The Valkyrie is going to be the example, like one of the ship examples. It's a medium-sized ship, slightly smaller than the TAC, and it's a dedicated dropship. The point of a dropship is to transport troops to a battlefield, like a battle zone. Now, in a real life sense, in real life, helicopters and airplanes are the closest thing we have to dropships from sci-fi. And the way we use them in real life, I'm not no military expert or armchair tactician, military specialist, anything. It's just general knowledge. Everyone knows. Everyone knows this. The way we use them is that. Oh, hello. What are you doing? Oh, those are just real rocks. The way we use them is we send troops into a zone and clear the zone to make it safe to drop troops. Now there is hot dropping, I think is the term, where the helicopter, like let's use a helicopter for example, since it's the closest to, let's say, a Star Citizen ship. So it goes up and down, side to side. Anyways, let's say we're using a Chinook helicopter and we want to land it down in a hot combat zone to drop in troops to provide support to already existing troops. And it's a very hot battle zone. Well, it's possible, but it's very dangerous for everyone on the helicopter. And it can be instantly destroyed with, the proper weaponry. But at the same time, in those situations, air defenses would have been already disabled and, made to ensure that the helicopter can actually get there and land. And I think that's one aspect of the whole dropship situation that people need to really recognize, is that unless you can establish air superiority to ensure that a dropship can land, you're not going to get your dropship anywhere near a contested battle zone if there are anti-air vehicles or even aerospace vehicles as well in flying around. Oh dear, how am I going to get this up there? Oh my. But almost lost my place. Almost lost my train of thought. With Star Citizen, someone could probably argue, oh, you just bring an escort. Well, you could do that, but you would be easily counterable, because there's just no way to guarantee that you could actually get your dropship down. Why am I talking about it? I kind of lost the plot myself, but never mind. So you can make a dropship tanky, so that way it takes a lot of punishment before it gets down. And honestly, they kind of should be tankier than a ship of its size class, but not tankier than a ship bigger than it, if that makes any sort of sense. So like, yeah, it should have a significant health pool so that way it can soak damage up. But that's not the end-all be-all solution to make them useful, because, alright, they did their job. Now you gotta get that thing back out and out of the combat zone, so that way you can ensure that you could come back later to get your troops back. But if you almost barely made it out alive getting in, you're going to barely make it out alive getting out, and then you also have to do it again when it comes to going back in to get the troops when they're done. Now, a lot of games that feature the combined arms gameplay, like let's use Planetside for example, they have dedicated vehicles to transport troops. Some vehicles are used as mobile spawn points. Maybe dedicated, because heck, someone, it was in the Bugs Cut video, they suggested make it to where dropships can drop troops from high altitude without taking fall damage. That's a pretty decent idea. But I would say, instead of making it an innate thing that only they can do, sort of like some sort of trail thing. I don't know. It's a very tricky thing. Because people want the immersion. Even though that kind of doesn't really hold too much in the old grand scheme of things. Immersion can take a game only so far, but what's the point of introducing immersion if it sacrifices the gameplay? If it's not fun to play, then why bother with it? Because they're suggesting a ship like a Valkyrie, a dedicated troop transport, dropship, would be able to deploy troops from high altitude, and it would apply some sort of effect on the individual to where they will not take fall damage upon contacting with the ground, and it could be represented by some sort of like blue hue or trail as they're falling. It's not a bad suggestion by any means, and okay. I need all 4 wheels on the ground. Oh, how am I going to get up there? Imagine doing this in real life. That would suck. Okay. Alright, it's working. Yes, now it's working. See, it works out. It worked itself out. Dropships are in just a bad position in general. Honestly, it would be... This would piss so many people off with this suggestion, but what if dropships, dedicated dropships, acted as mobile spawn points for people? To where it would be basically like in any other of those like combined arms games, like PlanetSide or Angels Fall First or whatever it is. To where the way it works is people who sit in the chair gets their spawn set to that chair, or they get an option to set their spawn to that particular drop chair. And you can't stack multiple spawns, because if someone else sits in that chair and sets their spawn, it'll just override the person who's previously sat and set their spawn there. And essentially, dropships could serve as mobile troop factories to where they can come in, drop, and just stay. Like, it would encourage them to stay in the area. I don't know. It's a very loosey-goosey like idea. It's to play around with the theories. Frankly, they just need to improve things in general. But like I was saying yesterday, we're not going to get any sort of really good balance with ships and weapons until they actually get all the stuff, all the prerequisites that's holding them back in the game. Personally, I kind of wish they would just left the weapons alone when they added the ship capacitor battery thing or whatever that caused the whole weapon rebalance from the ground up situation. Like, it wasn't perfect by any means, but it was nice. Almost every single weapon and ship component, including shields, did something differently. Like, CF repeaters had a little bit more fire rate and less heat production and a little bit more range than an attrition repeater, but they did a little bit less damage. But they made up for that with a improved fall off, like damage fall off. While attrition repeaters were notoriously used in PvP because their damage would scale the hotter they got. Weapons would actually overheat more often back then. Omni Skies were great for longer ranges. They did less damage than a M6 whatever number hang on, whatever numerical designation cannon, M6A or whatever. But sinuses. The Omniskies does less damage than those base M6A cannons or whatever, but they made up for it with range. I'm not close enough. And it was nice, but they had a slightly faster fire rate than the M6 cannons. NDB repeaters were pretty good weapons because they did a lot of damage up close, but had not so great damage at ranges. They had terrible damage fall off. Like, almost every single weapon had its own thing. It was cool. It was nice. Military shields had fast, military grade components, had better, they were just better overall in certain, in terms of, power generation, shield capacity, and recharge, and whatnot. Stuff that you would need for, they were very inefficient at what they do. So if you had a military grade quantum drive, you would travel faster, but you'd be spending more fuel. A military grade shield would have almost as much shield capacity as an industrial grade shield generator, but at the but it would have significantly less, but more than the other components below it. But it made up for his reduced shield capacity for recharge and shield recharge and recharge delay. It would take less time for the shield to recharge or to start recharging it after taking damage than other shield generators. But they had reduced shield capacities compared to, let's say, an industrial shield generator. Industrial shield generators had a lot of shield capacity, but they had terrible shield regen rate and shield regen delay times, which is a pretty good trade-off. I mean, you want pure capacity, then get an industrial shield. It would be terrible in combat, but it makes you a little tankier. Racing components and stealth components were pretty unique as well. Racing components maximize they prioritize performance, while stealth components prioritize reduced signatures. Stealth and performance components would have overall terrible stats, but they would have certain benefits. Like with stealth, they would have terrible shield capacity, terrible shield gen, to my knowledge, off the top of my head. Basically, terrible all across the board. But it was better than performance. Better than racing. And it had the lowest EM signatures out of any component. So you could basically turn a ship that's usually not stealthy into a stealth ship. Back then, stealth was pretty nice. It actually worked pretty decently because components were balanced. CIG are trying to bring some of that back, but honestly, they're not doing a good enough job. I don't think they'll ever be able to get back what they lost years ago. Back then, they balanced, weapons did not have recharge times. CF repeaters, NDBs, attritions, energy cannons, there were no capacitance. There was no need to worry about capacitors and how many shots you have for your energy weapons. The weapon shot continuously forever, and it was balanced by heating. Granted, they did a little bit less damage across the board if I can remember correctly. I don't know. But it was pretty well balanced compared to what we got, at least. What we have right now. And it's not great. And like ships like light fighters just reign supreme because it's all about avoiding damage. Honestly, I don't know how they're going to be able to tackle that problem. Because right now, all you need to be a adept combat pilot or just have an edge over people in combat is have a light fighter like the Gladius, or have a fighter that does a little bit of everything well, like a Mark II Hornet, especially the Mark II-A. That I don't know what they were thinking about that situation. Like bad choices after bad choices, but it's what it is. But now they have to tackle on how they're going to balance it all. It's going to be interesting how they figure out how to do it. Alright, let's collect these gems while I'm up here. I'll worry about the stuff down there later. Mining on these like mountainsides is just awful. Awful. But money is money. Look at all those gems down there. Oh, it's so nice. So, Fedmaline is the gem of the game right now, for me. I do like the blue crystals. I'm just glad this is working. You know, I found it hilarious when the Golem came out, the Drake Golem. Some people were like, I don't like making these kinds of takes because it comes off rude and belligerent, and I hate that. I do not like that. But it's accurate and kind of true, though. I hate hearing when CIG adds a ship. I could care less about the motive. I like the fact that we're getting a new thing. But at the same time, I do, in a way, care about like some of their motive of why, because sometimes they just do it as a pure cash grab. That is true. But I dislike hearing... Uh-oh. Oi. Come on. Ah, there we go. Saved it. I'm doing flips and tricks with my rock. But back to what I was saying, though, so... it's just... That's... When a ship comes out, people sometimes say, oh, the ship is this, like, insert ship name here, and then killer. It's like... The Idris T is a Polaris killer. Like, the Golem is a Prospector killer. I don't like it, honestly. It's like, okay, so a ship is doing something similar, different, or cheaper. That makes it a killer to this thing. Like how, the Carrack was a Constellation killer. Or... Attack is a Redeemer killer or something like that. Like, it doesn't have any real good thought into it, or perception, maybe. I look at games like War Thunder. I play a whole butt ton of War Thunder, and there are so many similar types of aircraft, tanks, and ships that if CIG basically followed that kind of if they basically did what people did back then in real life did and still do now, people will just be losing their minds. Oh my goodness, now this company is doing this thing now. It's like, this certain thing that the ship is doing does not belong to that company that made it first. Like the Prospector, what did you guys think when? What did you guys think that was going to be? Like how it was going to go about when it comes? Like, oh, how the Misk Fortune was a vulture killer. It's like it's this min-maxing mentality. If the ship does it, if it looks like it does it better, then the previous ship is obsolete, and they ignore the nuanced differences between those ships. And that is what I don't like, because I'm a person that looks at nuance or tries to acknowledge the nuance. And it's a very simplistic mentality of, it's like, oh, this ship does mining. Okay, it's trying to replace the Prospector. Like, no, that's not. Or it's not replacing the Vulture. It's not doing this and it's not doing that. It's this company doing what they wanted to do with that thing. And yes, CIG most likely probably did to do it. Probably did make that ship just to get a cash grab, but it's CIG. They're in the business of making ships to make money. It's like a very tiresome thing of constantly complaining about something that is just a basic fact of life with Star Citizen. Like, it's just so baffling when the prospect, the Misk Fortune came out, or the Golan came out. Because back to War Thunder, they're just slapping vehicles that existed in real life and just slapping it into the game, as close to real as they can make it. And are they perfect at it? No, not by any means. But there's so much diverse. Like with there are some aircraft. There are some aircraft in certain countries. Like, let's use Germany for example. The BF-109s versus the BF-190s. In some aspects, one would wonder why bother, like, if the 190 is such a good aircraft. Because I'm not all that versed in the deep nuances that separate these certain aircrafts. Like, why fly a LA-5 from the Russian tech tree when you could fly a Yak-7? Or something like that. Like, the LA-5 has 2 cannons, while the LA-7 has 2 machine guns and a cannon. It's like, there are gun differences, but the performance is very similar. Or, better yet, the later down the line, when you get a Yak with 2 or 3 guns, and then you got, like, why bother flying out of LA-7 when you could fly out a Yak 5P, or whatever variant of the Yak that has the 3 cannons in it? Oh, Yak 3P. Like, why bother flying the latter, right? The airplane with the more guns is basically the latter plane killer, right? If we're using Star Citizen Spectrum mentality. Like, obviously that's wrong, because to my knowledge, LA-7s are really good at the LA aircrafts are really good energy fighters, while the Yaks are very good, well, like, all-rounder aircraft or something like that, air superiority fighter. It's I guess, looking at my complaints and talk points in the grant, like, as a whole, the source of all the frustrations boil down to the Star Citizen player mentality that is very prevalent on Spectrum. It's funny, now that I'm thinking about it. It's just that Redditor mentality. The armchair devs. I'm not going to put any sort of investment into my thought process, and I'm just going to spout whatever nonsense comes out of my mouth without giving it any sort of thought. It's like, Why? Or, I'm not interested in having a actual discussion. I'm just gonna argue my point because I'm right, and I don't care if you're right. I want to be right because I like this thing. I want the game to be this way. Not, I don't want the game to be that way. If you want the game that way, then I don't like you and you're wrong. And I'm gonna plug my ears and go la 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 as you try to explain your point. Children. It's childish childish behavior. That's why I don't go on Spectrum. I don't like Spectrum. Spectrum is icky. Sensible Star Citizen players don't go to Spectrum. Okay, good. It was doing it, it's just at a very bad angle. But rambling and ranting about Spectrum, like about the undesirable mentality that some to a lot of Star Citizen players have, not an exclusion. I probably have similar tendencies. I will acknowledge them. Yeah. Whenever I do them. But it's just interesting. One thing I do want to babble on is the Bengal carrier. I'm very curious how they're going to go about the Bengal carrier. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm going to babble on multi-crew. Oh boy, a very hotly contested talking point in Star Citizen. It's like, oh, don't talk about the multi-crew. Like, oh, don't say you want to solo a ship. Like, oh, you bought a big ship like a Carrack or Polaris or Idris. Oh, don't you dare say you want to fly that thing by yourself. Your days of flying it solo are limited. Or, I despise anybody who dares to want to fly the ship they spent real money on. Because I don't like that gameplay, because those people are being selfish and depriving me of content because I want to do this thing or that. Ooh, look at all those gems. I need to go full reverse. Honestly, with the scale of these ships, with how things go in Star Citizen, multi-crew is possible. But in the grand scheme of things, ultimately, I think multi-crew is going to fall onto the hands, onto the legs, the lap, whatever, of NPCs. We are all going to get NPC crew members at some point when they come out. They will cost some money. Oh, but if you bring, like, you still have to pay your friends. Like, you can't say, oh, you have to pay the NPC crew. It's balanced because you need prospects and money to afford them. Like, yeah. But if you're bunking with friends, you don't pay your friends? Like, okay, I'm in a very precarious situation with the positioning of my rock. It is undesirable. A very bad spot. I could explode. But like, with all this stuff that CIG wants to add to the game, including engineering, I don't see how it's even possible with just players. Because with players, you need a... Okay. How am I going to get out of this anyway? There we go. Gotta get those tires to contact the ground. Okay, here we go. Players need incentives. They need incentives to play multi-crew. right now, multi-crew just sucks. The sum of multi-crew is that you're just standing there with twiddling your thumbs with your friend. And, okay. There we go. And you're just waiting for action. Like, when you're a gunner for some ship, you're just sitting there, just twiddling your thumbs, waiting for people to fly into your firing lanes. Like, in real life, that is a realistic thing. But this is a game, not real life. And I think that's something that both CIG and Star Citizen, the Star Citizen community in a whole, needs to try and understand, is that real life isn't fun. Oh dear, how am I going to get out of this? Oh, here we go. I could just use multi-tool tractor beam. Real life is not fun for people. Because... Oi. If someone's job is to sit in a turret... Aye. There we go. I should be able to get into the thing now. There we go. It grabbed me. Yeah. No, but yeah, so... How do they plan on going about multi-crew? At all? Is it going to be fun and worth people's time going around as a dedicated engineer? Because it's mundane work. Is it going to be fun to some people? Yeah, obviously. But, man. There we go. It's like finagling it. Using the arm. I'm stuck and I can't get out. Oh, here we go. I should be able to try and finagle it out now. If at all. My little crab arm. Because I don't know what people expect when engineering comes out. Like, do they want it to absolutely render flying big capital ships and just big ships in general? Just... What is going on with these wheels? Like, do they want it to be completely, absolutely impossible? Oh, I did it. Oh, spoke too soon. Do they want it to be absolutely impossible to fly a big ship by yourself? Like, be realistic. Do they think that's good gameplay? Like, it's very hard to talk about this when I am struggling to get free. You know, I had it and I squandered it. Because, here, now, try and get out. Oh, please don't. Please don't. Okay, here we go. And now... What the hell? It's like something's pulling my rock down. There we go. It's free! Kinda. Oi, you bastard. Traitor. Betrayer. No, but yeah. Now that I'm free, I can finally free up some thinking power. It's just gonna be frustrating, isn't it? There we go. Ah, it's so nice to be free. Okay, yeah. Now I could think. So, I don't know what they expect with multi-crew. They have no idea what they're doing. Honestly. Because multi-crew needs to be fun. It needs to be fun for it to be worth it, honestly. Like, do you want to spend your entire time playing with your friends on their ship just doing grunt work? Or do you want to do something more fun and whatnot? Like flying the ship or something. Like, people derive value of things that might be fun to them in different ways. And most certainly, it's not going to appeal to a lot of people, honestly. Mountain mining is so dangerous. There's a lonely gem somewhere up here. Ah, there it is. Ah, I wish I could speak. Okay, now I could talk. Sorry. I was very focusing. But, the point I was trying to get to is that the majority of this multi-crew gameplay that they're going to basically place into the game is going to be occupied by NPCs. Things are going to take the grunt work and the mundane jobs. Because people will most likely won't want to do them. Like, think of it this way. Do you think that the Idris came out recently, and people are also saying that it's going to be possible to fly by solo with multi-crew, with engineering, I mean. Do you think it's going to be manageable for you? Let's say you own the Idris. You run an org. How are you going to go about coordinating your crew? Like, are you going to adopt oh. Well, whatever. Even though I have a nice haul. So, let's just talk about it. So, how are you going to go about coordinating your crew? Are you going to adopt some sort of, like, infrastructure? Like, hierarchy? To go about coordinating with your crewmates and stuff? Gunnery, like, here, let's start with the gunners. Is the captain going to directly talk to each individual gunner to tell them to shoot at certain things? You could. Or are you going to have someone who's in charge of those gunners to coordinate them to do that for you as you're the captain? The engineering crew, are you going to have, like, you're going to have a chief engineer. What are they going to do? Well, they're going to fix ship. Well, no, not entirely. They're going to coordinate the engineers and make sure things are running optimally. Uh-oh. My thirst is so low. Multi-crew, when I hear them talk about it, and when I hear people talk about it, and what it's gonna be, and I see examples, it sounds cool. It looks awesome. There's no denying that. And I'm not complaining about it either. And I'm going to be one of those rare, weird people who will fly a big ship by themselves and somehow make it work. Okay, engines were turned off for some reason. Oh, no, no, no. Please don't fall. No, no. Okay. My concern is being able to get back up. Because I can't help but... Oh, those are rocks. I won't be able to get out of those. I can't help but think about what it's going to be like to be on board, let's say, a Javelin. Or a Bengal carrier. They want to add Bengal carriers and let players operate them. That is awesome. But how are you going to go about it? Because Bengal carriers are massive. Like one of the true big ships. Same thing with the Javelin. The Javelin's no ship to shake a stick at. It is a massive ship. Which means you need a large, sizable crew. They talk about all these crew numbers, and I'm like, okay, cool. How is that going to be reflected in the game? Like, you run an org, yes. You have the resources and prospects to own and operate one of these ships. Awesome. Now, how are you going to crew it? Do you have the numbers? Like, what? A Javelin needs like almost 100, 200 people, right? If I'm not mistaken. Somewhere around that. And an org, let's say you have an org of 500 people, and you want your org to own and operate a Bengal carrier. You have the means of building one. How are you going to crew it if you only have 500 people? If the Bengal carrier, this is just a this is just a guess. How are you going to crew it if it requires 1,000 plus? Like, oh, obviously you got to get AI crew. Yeah. The reason why I'm like circling around, looping, because I'm actively like constructing my idea. But anyways, you will need AI crew to operate the ships. With the big ships, at least. Any big ship, really. Capital ship is going to require some form of AI crew to pad out the numbers. Or even then, would it even be worth it? That's another question, is would it be worth it to own and operate a capital ship? Aside from the cool factor and what it could provide. Would it even be worth running it? People constantly talk about operational costs, like as some sort of balance feature. Like, okay, how is it gonna make it to where it's impossible for a single person to run one of these things? Like, people are like, my issue is people are wanting to actively try and limit and restrict and possibly, well, essentially dictate what someone can and can't do with their ship. And then they want to use that as like, oh, well, then they should have known better because it was going to be this way in the first place. It's like, I mean, you're not wrong, but you're being a mighty big asshole about it. And uncivil. And you would not like it if the tables were switched onto you. In the same sense. I am going to die if I don't get sustenance. And mountain climbing in this thing. I'm not going to bother with those gems. Oh, there's so many. Where's that gem? There it is. I'm doing it. I'm going up there to get him. I can't go in third person. That's great. That's okay. No, but yeah, so operational costs. I would assume people who buy these ships are going to know what they're getting into, obviously. And if they don't, then, well, yeah, they should have known better. But at the same time, it's like, operational costs shouldn't be to a point where it's just impossible for a single person to own it. Who owns it to run it? Because that's a waste of money that they just spent. Oh, but it should have been for an org. It should have been this. Like, things should be a lot of, like, there should be a lot of things, certain things. But it's entirely unreasonable. Oh, but you're just defending that kind of mentality. Like, in a way, yeah. I do have some biases, but you gotta be reasonable too. If you want people to play into this sort of weird system, like into these systems, it needs to be worth their while. It should not be a waste of their time or money. And those gems are lost to the rock. I cannot get into it. That one's done for. I can't get it. I think I'm done with this area, at least. There's just some few gems down there, and I will be done over here. This place is terrible. I'm dying. It's just this weird thing that people have, like, people who want to fight solo, like these capships solo, are terrible people and are selfish and depriving people of gameplay. Who cares? When this game comes to fruition, if it does, there's going to be hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people playing this game. Who cares if some offshoot people are going to be flying these things solo? Who cares? It's like, I don't give a hoot if it bugs you if someone wants to fly their ship solo. Oh, but it's not how it's supposed to be. Who gives a shit, right? Let them do what they want. They're not ruining anything. It's harmless what they're doing. Oh no, but it's subtracting the gameplay because everything should be everything should be together. Like, there shouldn't be solo. Like, why not? Why not there be solo stuff? This game should be for everybody. Like, you saying that you want games, you saying that you want this game to force people to work together and do stuff together, hire crew, get multi-crew, escorts, whatever you want to say, whatever kind of thing it is. You saying that is just as bad as someone saying ships should be soloable. This should be a soloable game, and that people who are multi-crewing are just throwing a temper tantrum, a hissy fit. Like, it's from the same hat. What's the saying? Pot calling the kettle black. Ultimately, you shouldn't have any sort of say at how this game turns out, and that there should be aspects of this game that are soloable, or even possible soloable. Oh no! Okay, it's worked out. Like, a cap ship should not be crewed by just one single person. Yes. However, if they are willing to put up with all the frustration, hassle, and consequences that come with flying that thing solo, that they should accept that reality and do it if they want to. What's stopping them? Oh, but it should be impossible because those people are bad players that don't care about this game. Like, no, they care about this game just as much as you do. Just because it's in a different way doesn't make it any different than yours. There's a sense of entitlement with Star Citizen players. It's like, oh, I watch Salty Mike, and sometimes it's hard to watch him sometimes because he can be very entitled. Like, he makes good points. There's no denying that. I can't argue against that. I won't, because if they're good points, they're good points. But some things are just no. All right, no. Like him saying how people who think capital ships should be soloable and those who fly solo, people who fly big ships solo are selfish. Like, yeah, no, you are in the wrong opinion, and I don't like it. That's my prerogative, at least, because I've been messed up. Typing a thing. I just don't like. I just don't like it when people just spill and gush entitlement. I don't like it when I do that. I try to catch myself at least. And that's just the frustrating thing when it comes to Star Citizen is these certain players, like people saying how they're going to leave Star Citizen because tier 0, like how I'm not going to play Star Citizen anymore after, if they put the tier 0 item recovery thing in, like me not being able to loot someone's corpse is not worth my time and this game is dead to me. Like, why does it have to be like that? That's like one thing. You're going to let one thing dictate whether you stay or go? Same thing with the Blades situation. Yeah, it's a shitty situation. CIG shouldn't have done it. But you're gonna leave the project and the game because of that? Seriously? You spent how much money into this game and you're just gonna leave just because they overstep their boundaries, like dramatically overstep their boundaries once? They do step over boundaries every now and then, but this is like one of the first times they ever did it on the big time kind of thing, which is only one time so far, at least to me, at least. But I have skewed standards, I guess. But you're gonna let that be what makes you leave? Seriously? And then Salty Mike is also saying how he's going to leave Star Citizen because it's not shaping up to be the game he wants to play because of certain things. And at this, like, on one side of the coin, that is perfectly fair. You do you. It's your prerogative. But at the same time, you're going to let little things make you leave. And at the same time, if you are of the group providing the contrarian opinions, keep providing the pushback on the topics that CIG are trying to do, like the Blade situation, for example. I'm going to go to Aberdeen. No, I'm going to go to Ariel. I'm in the mood for some orange after that debacle. Like, on the topic of Salty Mike and him saying how he's thinking about leaving Star Citizen and how he's thinking about leaving the Star Citizen streaming thing behind and doing more Eve. I mean, hey, you do whatever you gotta do. You do what's more fun and worth your time. But one point I would make is if you're of the people providing the pushback and you leave, there's no one going to be providing that pushback anymore. And CIG is just going to go with the people that are going to replace you when you do leave. You are replaceable. We are all replaceable. I am replaceable in this matter. Salty Mike is replaceable. If he leaves Star Citizen, he'll just be replaced with another person. And what would it be for? In the end, what's the worth of it? Because ultimately, with Star Citizen, with people saying, oh, I'm going to leave because of this, because of that, like, well, if you really want to do it, okay. But keep in mind, you like Star Citizen. You play You spent how much money into this game? You engage into the community actively. You play this game actively. And I'm not just talking about Salty. I'm just talking about people in general who are saying they're leaving this game, but then eventually they come back. Grumpy eye, cough, cough. And just people in general. Because the way I approach this whole situation is I don't like what CIG are doing. I gave my 2 cents. I provided some pushback on the matter, left some comments on people's videos here and there on the matter. And just because I'm not happy with what CIG are doing doesn't mean I'm going to leave. Heck, when they add, like, one of the, like, people left or said they were going to leave because of Tier 0, because of master modes, or because of some changes here and there with the economy or certain plans of ships or whatever. My thing was when they added the capacitors, the ship capacitors, when they changed the balance of weapons and components across the board and made everything homogeneous. I didn't like that. I was really upset about that. Did I make a big stink of it? No. Did I have, like, some sentiment of, like, maybe it's not worth my time playing anymore? Maybe, yeah, a little bit here and there. But am I going to leave? No. Is this situation with the blades going to make me leave Star Citizen? No, because I like the game. I still like the game. The game is not even done yet. Even though it's been in perpetual development hell for like 12 to 13 years now. Plus. It's still a good project to hop in and just try out. It's still fun. It's not perfect by any means, and it's not like any sort of like comparable to any other game because it's not a game yet, in a sense. But it's there's just something there. There is something there that is worth your time if you're willing to put into it. And it's just fair. If you want to leave, that's just fair. But at the same time, will it be worth it? If you did leave, was it worth it? That's a question that you got to ask yourself. Would it be worth it to you to leave Star Citizen behind just because of 1, 2, or maybe 3 things they did? If ultimately they weren't overly egregious, people are like treating this like Unity. They're treating it like how Unity went about their monetization practices of charging users in like per download, like charging users a per download fee. Like that's some pretty egregious stuff right there. Is what Star Citizen is doing egregious? Yeah, and it does open some doors that shouldn't be opened. That's why they need pushback. And it's just the people who provide the contrarian opinion, the people who provide the pushback on these efforts that CIG do every now. CIG is a company. They're going to try and do things to make more money. And in this situation, they are in the need of more money. So they're trying almost anything right now. They could do stuff way worse than the Blades. Honestly. Like, get a reality check. It could be worse. And we need people to provide pushback. Like, it's a broken record at this point. You leave if you want to leave, but just keep in mind, would it be worth it? That's why I ain't leaving, because Star Citizen's still worth my time. It's not done yet, and just because they add... I don't play Star Citizen for the ultimate end goal that some people have in mind. I play Star Citizen because I have fun with what I have with now. I like playing this game as it is right now, and I love that it just keeps getting more and more stuff added to it. I'm a basic bitch that way. I like to play a lot of games like that. a lot of in development, early access games, you name it. And that's why I also have a high tolerance for buggy and inconvenient things. And Star Citizen is basically that space game that we've all been wanting. Like, literally. CIG are the only ones trying to make a game like this. And that's why I'm like, you still like the game. You still want to play it. You're just mad about the changes that they're doing because they're not aligning with your interests. CIG have done that to me a lot. I didn't care for master modes. I didn't care for ship capacitors. And I don't really care about some of the future stuff too, but it is what it is. I still like the game. Why would I leave? One game that I did leave. No, not really. I got stuck in a crevasse in my Great Cat Rock, and now's about it. Ooh, yes. Good gems. I've just been rambling and babbling about Star Citizen. Star Citizen is that dream space game all of us space nerds have been dreaming of for years. I don't see any sense of leaving it behind. One game that I did leave behind, because they did add changes that I didn't like, was Naval Action. I like Naval Action. I really do. The gameplay, but the combat was great. But I do not like the game developers. I don't like the devs. They're not really all that great at making decisions. Good decisions. CIG can probably, like, there are some parallels. I'm talking about it right now. There's this game called Naval Action. It's like this Age of Sail sailing game or whatever. You fight other sail ships. It's pretty cool. But man, some of the stuff they've been doing over the years have been just annoying. Doesn't do it justice. And it was just this compounding situation of it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. The game became more unfun, more and more and more unfun. And I took a very long break and basically just not revisited the game in forever. Then I see there's some news about them merging the PvP server with the free-to-play server. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm pretty sure they're going to touch on the free-to-play server too. No, they didn't. What happened was that when they applied the server update, they overhauled the game pretty much almost from the ground up in terms of, like, they changed the map in its entirety, they changed a whole lot of zones in the free-to-play area. There was a whole lot of that. I tried it out, and I did not like what I saw. The new player experience was not great compared to what I experienced. I started with a pretty decent ship that... Oh, here, gotta do that really quick. Surprised I didn't do that last time. That would have ended badly. But, I did not like the new ship they gave new players. It was called the Basic Lynx. It was a small little sail ship, a little schooner ship, or whatever you want to call it, and it basically, the only thing it does good is maneuverability and speed. It's the only thing it was good for is trading, hauling cargo. That was it, compared to the other ships of its size class. Aside that, it was not good. People want to try and argue and debate all day, but ultimately, the only thing it was good for as a starter ship is providing new players, with cargo trade. Here, I gotta be right back really quick. I'm back. Okay, so back to what I was saying with naval action. It was just problem after problem. When I started playing the game, you started out with zero money. Absolutely zero. Back then, you'd started with a tiny bit of money. When you started after the new update, you had no guns on your ship. And that's because they changed the gun mechanics for the ships. Instead of relying, they made it to where you needed ammunition to fire your guns. I'm like, okay. However, the problem with that is that they made it to where you need 2 consumables to fire your cannons. You needed cannonballs and gunpowder, which is a debacle within itself of trying to produce yourself. They added a whole butt ton of grind to the game that it was completely unnecessary. Before, you started with some small handful of docks at your outpost. You started with an outpost. No, you started with 1 free slot for an outpost. Or was it 2? Essentially, you started with 1 to 2 free slots. You still have that 1. Now you have only 1 free slot for an outpost. You only get 1. And if you want to get rid of it, you need to spend money. You need to spend a resource that you can only get through combat. Okay, no problem. However, also, to expand your inventory, you need that same resource to expand how many slots you have for not just your outposts, but for your inventory, like your inventory for your outposts and the dock slots. You need dock slots to own multiple ships. And back then you had 2 to 3 freebies off the bat. It's like, that's pretty decent. Now you don't get none. You got 0, but you could get more dock slots if you bought the DLCs. Oh, how fun is that? And essentially, the point I'm trying to get to, I'm not going to go through every single bit that annoyed me with naval action. Ultimately, the reason why I left naval action is because it was in a downward decline in terms of the developers making bad decisions every single time. The situation was just not getting better. It was bad decision after bad decision. It was just on a steady downward decline. And then when I left, I occasionally pop in to check out what's going on because I was taking a break. Then I hear this big news, a change coming, and come to find out, the main devs, or the main people working on it, basically left it behind and let it be bought out by this other dev or whatever. And essentially, the game is in the situation of they're trying to sunset the game to where they could leave it behind. And also, another thing that broke the camel's back is the fact that the PvE server is still not free to access. You need to pay 40 to 50 bucks on a single DLC that will give you access to the PvE server. And the progress you made on your character on the Caribbean server will not transfer over to the PvE server. So you would need to make a whole new character and start all over again. Because the way they went about their character, like the way they went about their progression system, is that it's character localized. Which means if you delete your character is gone. I deleted my character because I softlocked myself, and I was assuming everything was going to be gone when the new big update came out, but I still had my rank and some other things. So I thought, oh, they changed it. So I deleted my character. Turns out that wasn't the case, and I lost all my progress. Honestly, I wouldn't really be too bothered by that mistake if the game was actually fun to play, because I was entirely expecting to start over anyway. But the game isn't fun to play anymore. It's still frustrating. And it's not going to get any better. So it's like, you know what? The game is done. They're sunsetting it. It's just not going to get better. All these bad decisions that I've seen them out are still here, are still making things inconvenient and annoying. The only saving grace is the combat in the game. And now even that has been hampered with the new dual consumable ammunition system, which adds even more grind to an already grindy game. I've been argued that, oh, but the money is not that hard to get anymore, because now every ship drops this currency that you need to get money. It's like, honestly, at this point, you are just preaching to the choir. You're speaking to a wall, because I made my decision and I've come to a concluded, well thought out decision. Even though it was partially by impulse, but still. I don't regret getting rid of the game from my Steam account because... no. Maybe some Star Citizen players feel similar sentiments towards CIG and the whole situation, and that is completely fair. But ultimately, you have to ask yourself, will it be worth it leaving? I had to ask myself that question when I was thinking, well, yeah. In the heat of the moment, I was trying to think of, would it be worth it leaving this game behind? And I gave the game a chance again. Then, again and again. And then it's like, well, at this point, like, no, it's not worth it for me to just keep this game. I don't like this game anymore. I don't get any fun out of it. I did spend money on this game, but frankly, it wasn't a lot, thankfully. And I don't like the devs either. I don't like the situation of this game, and the only reason why I would even keep the game is if there's any sort of chance that it's going to get better. But the sad reality, for Naval Action at least, is that it's not. They're trying to sunset and decommission the game, and it's just not worth sticking around, you know? But with Star Citizen, that's a different situation, because even though CIG are doing some pretty shitty stuff with the whole blades and bomb racks and stuff, it's still not worth leaving, because this is one of several mistakes that they made. Are they going to keep making mistakes? Yeah, maybe. I'm not some fortune teller, and I'm not going to make excuses for CIG. And in fact, I encourage people to keep giving them negative press and pushback. They need it. My magnet for my cabinet door is broken. It's not working no more. It lost its magnetism. No, but they need more negativity. Do they need to be buried into the dirt because of the situation? No. The game will get better. They will learn from their mistake. Will they learn from their mistake? Maybe not. It feels like the marketing team behind all the marketing team are basically making all these decisions, and the devs and just everyone else in general are just letting them do whatever, because they're the ones who are able to bring in the money. They need the money, they bring in the money. But will it be like that forever? Most likely not. I'm not going to make predictions. Will it be? Maybe. Most likely not. But there is a chance of maybe. But I'm interested in seeing it to the end, because for me personally, Star Citizen is worth me sticking around. But Naval Action, on the other hand, no. No, I was on thin. The devs behind Naval Action were on thin ice with me already, as it was even before that. With not just Naval Action either, with some of their other games too, like Rear Admiral Dreadnoughts. They released a multiplayer feature. Like, they finally added multiplayer to Rear Admiral Dreadnoughts, but they made it a DLC that you have to buy, and it was like 30 to 40 bucks. Even if it was 15 bucks. That's unacceptable. I'm a very pro-consumer and very pro-player person. And when developers make decisions that screw or unreasonably inconvene the consumer or player, that will rub me the wrong way. Because I don't care about, like, with the whole dock slot or whatever. Like, yeah, I want it, but that's not why I'm arguing against the whole, like, not having a one dock slot. It's like, it's ridiculous for that whole situation entirely. I'm arguing about the principle of the matter of how they sacrifice their principles for pure profit. That is the whole point of the whole thing. And it didn't work out for them. And now they're just letting the game die because they can't extract money out of it anymore. Because the notion of making a game fun and player friendly is somehow escapes them. If a game was fun, people would be willing to, like, same thing applies to Star Citizen and also almost any game. If a game is fun and it doesn't screw the players over and it values their time that they put into it, they will put money into it. It's a simple concept, but it feels like that kind of concept escapes people, developers, marketers, game leads, or people who run the show. If you don't respect the players, they're not gonna want to give you their money. It's a weird concept, I know, right? Ew, we gotta be nice to people who want to buy our products? And part of that is coming from me being a character artist. Like, people come to me so that I could draw something for them. And they keep coming back because I value their time. I try to deliver what they want within a reasonable amount of time, and I respect them. Like, I don't treat them dirty. I'm not rude to them. Even if they annoy me or make a lot of these changes or whatever, you gotta be it's respect. The respectability has to be there. I have to respect their time and the pure fact that they are willing to give me money for something that I can provide to them. And the same principle applies to a video game. And that's why I just abhor AAA games nowadays. Because that's not what it's about anymore. That's what it used to be back then. AAA games used to be for the fact of, this game is great. We're going to make a smash game and people are going to buy it. Because back then we didn't have the idea of microtransactions yet. And honestly, microtransactions kind of ruined the gaming industry as a whole. Because it takes away the need, and I'm kind of going on a whole preachy thing of the gaming industry in general now, going from Star Citizen to this and whatnot. But it's all connected in a way. Because back, like, I had the luck and the pleasure to grow up during a time when games were being made and developed, they were made to be quality games. Because they knew that if their games were high quality, or at least fun to play, people would want to buy those games. Because that is where they got their sales. That's where they got their money. And that was, if they made a smash game, people were going to buy it. They're going to hype it up and buy it. But now that sense of notion has been lost because AAA games and these big, oversized, bloated studios only care about making profit. The game quality has taken a dive. Game quality has various things that go into it. Like Star Citizen, for example. This game is not a quality game. It's not by any means. This game is really cool. It has some amazing ships. Has amazing effects. I like it because it has a lot of potential. It upsets me that TF2 was the start of microtransactions. Yeah, I'm with you there. I still don't like the fact that they still do loot boxes. But that's just TF2. But it's okay for there to be offshoots, but it's okay to have microtransactions either. I'm not condemning microtransactions. I am condemning the sacrifice of quality over profit. The developers of these games, or maybe it's not the developers themselves, but just the studios, the publishers. These studios do not care about the players. Now, to finish my thing with Star System real quick, because it's kind of a loose end, in a sense, like a open-ended book. The problem with Star Citizen is that it's not a quality game, but I like Star Citizen because it has the potential to be a very high-quality game. High quality means it'll be playable, and it'll have stuff that I like. Heck, a game doesn't have to... High quality is suggestive. It's relative. A high-quality game, to me, can be a low-quality game to someone else. A lot of people see Minecraft as a high-quality game, while other people on the ladder, or on the other side of the coin, see it as a low-quality game because of the graphics and the voxelness or whatever. Like, it could be construed different ways. But ultimately, the point I'm trying to make is that game studios like EA, Bungie, Activision, Ubisoft, Sony, just all the big titles, all the big dogs in the industry. They only care about profits, and they do not care about the players at all. We players are just mere numbers to them, and what we like and dislike do not matter, ultimately. I mean, that's how big business is in general, and that's why I kind of don't like them, because they've been too corporatized. Give or take it or leave it when it comes to the corporate stuff that you like, whatnot. The point being is that they sacrificed their quality for short-term profits. And that's a funny thing too that I just noted, like that I've just been seeing over the decade, is that these companies only care about short-term profits, the sugar rush, the high, and like they don't understand that a good game will make them millions upon billions, and them continually delivering on those kinds of games would make that even more. But it would take time and money, which they don't want to invest any. It's just depressing in a way, and it makes me reflect on my past of growing up with games that were made to actually be good. Like modern AAA games, like Call of Duty titles. Not to sound too contrarian or abrasive or whatever, but Call of Duty is trash. Like, it's just a money pit. Like Star Citizen in a way is similar sense, but like CIG does not compare to Activision. Ubisoft doesn't compare. Hey there, did I read the chat? Yeah, I do read chat. I'm talking to the Twitch chat. And that's also a question of if you're still here. The who asked, do you read chat? And if you're the same person of Ellie here 30, then are you trying to peddle something? I say welcome to the game and stream and stuff, but I will say, if you're just here to advertise your artistic services in any way, I'm not interested. Because I do not tolerate solicitors. I only tolerate those who are here to enjoy the stream and hang out. And I'm mainly talking about how people who come in and then they say like they only participate in the stream just to get to the point of, oh, and by the way, you want to commission me for some graphics or overlays for your stream or something like that? Like, I provide artistic services and I can make you some stuff. Because that's been a common theme for me with streaming on Twitch for the past months of me playing, streaming on here. Alright. That's perfectly fine. I mean, even if you were, that's perfectly fine. If you were an artist, that's perfectly okay. It's just the only thing that I just can't tolerate anymore is people coming into the stream and then just basically for the sole purpose of being here is, I think I'm having a server issue. Yeah, the gems aren't being picked up anymore. The server's dying. No, you don't have to worry about then. Essentially, the reason what I'm going on about is whenever I stream on Twitch, I always get bots who basically drop down some sort of link to some third-party people, the third-party website that provides some sort of like bot service or whatever, so you could pad your viewer count with bot viewers, I guess. Or they're only here to advertise some sort of artistic service, which I don't really entirely believe, because I'm just jaded at this point when it comes to the internet. A lot of people, surprisingly, advertise their art services on Twitch. But I got the strong feeling the reason why is because I don't have any fancy overlays to ward off the peddling solicitors. Unfortunate for me, but I like the plain Janeness. Oh, this is depressing. Wait, is the container full? Here, I'm gonna get out and try and finagle this really quick. Oh, that's so cool. Boop. That's nice. That's nice. Alright, now let's see if this fixed the problem. I am here on Aberdeen trying to... Is my stuff going to save? If I return back to my hangar and store it. But, like, let's say, for some reason I explode out of nowhere. Nah, that stuff's gone. Like, I could come back and get the box back, but... Why? Alright, so is the capacity full? It's at 59 points. Let's just say 50. Wait. I think I might be able to store this in my backpack. How's my experience with Star Citizen so far? I've been, funny enough, I've been playing this game for years, honestly. I lost track of how long I've been playing. Like, they do so many updates, it's just... You just lose count at eventually. I've been having a pleasant time playing the new update, though. Here, let's see. Oh. I'm gonna have to try and switch out the container, then. 750 gems in the bag is actually not that bad. Yes, I am one of the OGs. Well, I wouldn't say OG, I would. I was around back when I was playing around the time when it was just Crusader, Levski, and Hurston, including their respected moons, with Port Olisar and stuff, like back in the olden days. But I do like the progress that they've been making. Like, I am very pleased with the progress that they're making. Their current initiative. Oh, that's nice. How are you liking the game so far? Yeah, let's close this, and then let's just switch out the bag. And then I could just put the bag there. Oh, it turns blue when you pop it in. Any tips? It depends on what kind of things you want to do, really. Like, I've been playing this game for so long, I can provide some decent tips, but I wouldn't say I'm a professional in any sort of capacity. Like, what I'm currently doing is gem mining. And right now, I'm just battling with the mining laser so I could pick the gems up. Alright. But my tips would be just have fun, I guess. It's such an unhelpful tip, I guess. You couldn't even call it a tip. What do you like doing so far, based off of what you've been trying out and whatnot? Because the game does have a lot to offer, despite there not being too much depth into the game yet. It's a nice sandbox, though. Like, a nice hop in, mess around with the ships, play some mini games here and there. Missions being the mini games. Okay, so I got the feeling that the bag was at max capacity and that's why it wasn't collecting any of the gems. Oh, thank goodness. I was about to be very disappointed. Solo stuff? Yeah, I'm doing solo stuff as well. Like, I'm a solo player. I like playing with friends, but the friends I play with aren't on all the time, and also can't really tolerate Star Citizen as much as I can in terms of like playing the game. Which is fair. I have a high tolerance for things. So, me saying someone has a low tolerance doesn't really mean they have a low tolerance. It just means I have I just have a high tolerance for bullshit, I guess. Ranked? Ranked stuff? I don't think so. Now, you could play Arena Commander, but it's not ranked, like, in the sense of, like, let's say Call of Duty or Overwatch. At least yet. Because this game is... It's not bouncy. It's a very... beaten into the ground term or saying, and that is this game is an early alpha and it's still not finished. Even though this game is pretty darn awesome currently for what it is right now. Other games that I played besides this. Actually, speaking of other games, when I finish collecting these gems, I am actually going to be switching streams in a bit. Because Roguecraft recently came out, and I've been actually dying to play that game ever since I installed it yesterday. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with SnowRunner or MudRunner, but I really like those games. Those were very fun because it's just nice, you know, to just drive around in a big truck and just do stuff. And just drive through mud. I don't know why it's satisfying, but it's satisfying, alright. One day we might get some sort of ground vehicle system or functionality like that. One day, but a man can dream. But yeah, fixing to go on to play Roadcraft here in a bit and try it out. Because I got the game. I bought it on the 18th. Like, just a few days before the release, but yet not too far ahead to where if you wanted to get a refund, it's like unwarranted or something like that. I don't like pre-orders all that much. Play horror games like The Last of Us, Resident Evil, Dead by Daylight. Those are good games. I haven't had a chance to really play those games yet because they're not really games that suit my fancy in terms of like just game mechanic and playstyle wise. But I do like a good horror game every now and then. Though, the only real horror game that I have that in terms of like that's really good is Dead Space. The Dead Space series, the trilogy. I love those games. Like the Dead Space remake, they knocked it out the water. There are some aspects of the story that I don't like very much. But I am what's the person that doesn't like change? A Luddite or something like that? No, a Luddite is someone who rejects new technology, I think. I can't think of the term, but I do like Dead Space, the Dead Space remake overall, because it is very good. Alright. I am going to now sell these gems. Go far a prayer of Farhar. I do not know. Sorry. I'm gonna guess you're trying to talk about a game or something? And that it's just mistyped? These streams can go on and on, but I like it. Equip all the midi pins. Oh, wait, hang on. This is the wrong backpack. I like the gun being on this side. Oh, okay. Nice. I am going to engineering. Wait. Who upspacing they ships? I be upspacing my ships. Hi, bye. General Chaz. Oh yeah, okay. Actually, maybe by the time you get back, I will be already on Roadcraft. It just depends on how long it is. But it's fine. Can't figure out why I can't request takeoff. I was almost about to do the Alt+N keybind as well. Because I was talking about it, and my brain was about to do it. Alright, now it's time to turn in these gems to see how much of a profit I make. Ship mistress. They're about to bring down the shields. Oof. You know that moment when you have an itch in your ear and you just get it right? Like, man. Shot in the heart, but you're too late, darling. You gave love a bad name. Wow, wow. They're really cool. Oh, man. Nothing beats a good old ear itch. Here's Hurston. I really like these ships. I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with multi-crew, but I mean, hey, honestly, I prefer hiring NPCs than players, because NPCs will actually do their job. Let us go. The Misk tack is so nice. I'm gonna miss my Constellation Andromeda, but it was a good exchange. I'm not made out of money, and I didn't upgrade my Constellation to this thing, because this thing is way expensive. I like the default paint on it, though. The nice gray, military, whatever color that is. It looks gray, but also a little bit of olive drab. I know. My ambient music has ended again. I just stuck it on loop. Why not? I've been talking so long, I'm getting phlegm in the back of my throat. The ship is nice. It has nice curves and shapes. Big guns. Why they chose size 5s, I don't know, but I think they would have been better with size 4s, really. You get more shots, I would believe. Alright, now let's see how much money I can make with the gems I've collected so far. I will have to submit 2 of the boxes, but that's okay. Alright, so this is the process of making money with rock mining. So, actually, they made the process so much better than it used to be. Aw, Freddy. I love it when dogs yawn sometimes. Yeah, the wings, I guess. And the shape. The wings and the shape. It does look like a chicken in a way. Or some sort of weird bird. Maybe a dodo bird. We are now in range to call landing permissions. To ask for landing permissions. Landing gear are down, and we are touching down now. Oh. There we go. Oh, speaking of which, hang on. Let's refuel and rearm. Oh, come on now. There. It's just buggy. Just general repairs overall, across the board. So now we go to the back. I like going through the top and then down, because there's just a lot of manual doors that you have to go through to get to the back. To the cargo deck. Here, let me top off my vitals really quick. You know, I'm actually kind of excited to switch over to Roadcraft, not gonna lie. I tried a little bit yesterday, but I decided to hold off playing it because I wanted to stream it. Because the game feels like a game that is warranting streaming. It's really cool. Alright, so let's get to sell it. We take the pod, we bring it to our elevator that emits godlight. We pop it down, and then we get the other one since we put gems in that one too. Now I got the feeling that there's a bug. Either the capacity of these pods, these bags, are cut in half, or either the bug is preventing the bags to filling to maximum, or the bag's max capacity is 750, but there's a graphical bug that makes it appear that there's more. It would be nice if it was more than 750, but you know what? It's okay, I guess. Alright, so we send the bags down. So this is the process of how I do the gems, to make money off of the gems, to sell them. Because when you deposit the bags, the game, when you go to the sell location, it doesn't detect the bags as things. So you gotta go into these bags and extract the gems directly out. So drag them out. Oh, so it's not 750, it's around. Okay, so now we can recover the bags. Now that we emptied them, we raise the lift that now has our empty bags. Bags that I can't see because of the godlight. And we just simply put it back on the ship. Boop. All right. CIG has their hands full on with things to fix. That is for certain. You know what? If you are a bug fixer, like if you are a coder that specializes in fixing bugs, I'm pretty sure you will never run out of work at CIG compared to other game studios. Now we just simply put the new bag back on. Now it's funny how these gray bags turn into blue bags once you stick them on this thing. But I love the fact that that thing raises and lowers down. Now we just simply head out of the hangar and to the Commerce District. So that way we can sell the gems. But first, store the ship. Because once I sell the gems, I'm hopping out of Star Citizen. And down she goes. Please, I would like to go and get my monies. Now we got to go head to the Commerce District now. This man has perished. Why? I don't know. The people have been dying everywhere. And I don't know why. I think these NPCs are trigger happy. The security guards are killing their people. Yeah, I got the feeling that these guys are just killing each other. I'm taking this body, though. Have you no respect for the dead? I do, but I also want the stuff off of their backs, too. Oh, good. I like how you have a strong grip now with the body drag mechanic. Because before, every little bump would make you let go. Going up a staircase, you would let go. You'd turn a corner, your guy would let go.
Trespassing or attempting to trespass on train tracks is a serious and dangerous offense.
Let's see, I want the helmet.
Your fellow
Can I carry the arms? Yes.
do not lock doors.
Carry the legs? No. Just drop it all down.
Kirsten Security reserves the right to search travelers at any time.
Grab. And now just deposit my stuff.
Trespassing or attempting to trespass on train tracks is a serious and dangerous offense.
And a suit. This man is dead, but I now own his stuff.
Step away from the platform edge when train is approaching.
There we go. Now we just wait for the long train ride to get here.
Be considerate of your fellow travelers. Do not lock doors.
You know, it is weird watching the stream and seeing the chat actually coming through. There's like a 3-second to almost 5-second delay.
Next stop.
Meanwhile, on Twitch, it's actually not that bad of a delay. On YouTube, it's an incredible delay. Holy moly. Ooh. I spawn with low hydration for some reason to... Ooh, stretch. Interesting. Man, I still can't get over the crazy delay on the YouTube stream. Oh well, it's out of my control. Alright, so we come to this console here to sell our gems. It's loading. Lorville, because that's where the gems are stored, and there it is. Oh, 689 units. But you can only sell 100 units at a time. So we have 435,000 monies. So let's just start selling the monies and see where we go, where we get. It is a very crazy delay. I don't know what's with YouTube streams being so delayed. I guess that's why people stream onto Twitch. But hang on. See, I don't like that I cannot control the amount, the max amount. Because I have way more than that. So I had 300-something thousand monies. No, 400-something thousand. Okay. All the gems have been sold, and now I'm sitting on 634,000 monies. So I made around 200,000 monies. That's not bad. But I will now end the Star Citizen stream here. I'm not stopping my streams. I am just gonna switch over to Roadcraft. So I will be back momentarily. It like takes a few minutes for me to set all the settings. So I will be back momentarily.